So I'm Sarah Ficken, and I'm presenting an aligning program impact with our plan of work. You're fine. Before I get started, I wanted to talk a little bit about the picture that I chose for my title page. So that picture I took this summer when we were bringing in our last load of bales, and they're beautiful bales. Actually, it's the highest quality feed we've put up. Beautiful bales, nice tractor, everything looks great. The sun is setting, which means it's still light outside when we finish hay. Everything was perfect. And that picture is really special to me because it took us 5 years to get there. The first time we put up hay, it took us like 7 days. The tractor didn't have lights. I don't know how one of us didn't die. And there was really a lot of process and a lot of hard work that went in between that first awful night trying to do bales to 5 years later, we figured it out. And in a lot of ways, I feel similarly to our plan of work. Our plan of work is this guiding document, but there's a lot of pain between implementing it and measuring that impact. And so my real goal for this process was to get myself to a place where the plan of work and implementing the plan of work is as beautiful as that picture. So we'll see if I did that. So the needs. We went through a fair bit of transition about 2 years ago in our county, and as we've started to get our feet back under us, there's really been this need to find better cohesion. We've done a fairly comprehensive needs assessment. We have a plan of work that reflects that needs assessment. But then we have programs that don't necessarily fall within the plan of work. We are evaluating the programs with questions that don't speak to what we really need to be asking. I can tell you, everybody's comfortable with the temperature, they liked the food, the location was okay, but I can't tell you what they learned from the program. I can't go back to my plan of work or to federal reporting and really have any meaningful data. And we were really also struggling. Our federal reporting setup was last updated, I think, 7 years prior. And not only had we had more than 100% staff turnover, but a lot of our priorities had changed significantly too. We saw the influx of about 70 Amish families. We saw the outflux of a lot of our smaller dairy farms. And so who we were reaching and how we were reaching them really changed. And so there was a need to get all of the wheels on the bus going in one direction and to hopefully make the process of having everything be cohesive be slightly less painful. So for my PDLC project, the audience is primarily internal. My goal for the project was to help any of our association staff work within the plan of work more effectively. However, the audience of our programs and the goal of this project is to reach a deeper audience and a wider audience. So we're already reaching the people we reach. We'd like to reach more of those types of people. And then there's a whole other group of people out there, whether they're absentee landowners, woodlot owners, retired farmers, community members who are concerned about ticks that we would like to be able to reach too. And so making sure that as we broaden our audience, as we deepen our audience, we're still working within our plan of work was really important. So I don't know if other counties have this, but in our county, we have these program action plans, and they're two-sided torture devices that you have to fill out by hand, and they get filed. You never see them again, they get filed. And they're all handwritten. By the time you filled out your sixth one, your handwriting's sloppy and you're not putting down a lot of meaningful data. So my goal was to increase, if our goal is to increase our programming impact, we needed to make sure that our program action plans really worked. So I went into Qualtrics and I created a form. So our program action plan is now digital and there are drop-down menus. So I can have a great idea. We should have a program on grazing dairy heifers. I think it's an awesome idea, so I'm gonna pick on it. So we should have this program on grazing dairy heifers and I'm gonna run with it because I think it's amazing. And I can, handwrite something. But if I get here and I have to go to my drop-down menus and I have to stuff it within a box, it forces me to really think, does this fit within our plan of work? Is this something that makes sense with federal reporting? And so this is just a snippet of what the bigger Qualtrics form looks like. But the goal is really, if we want to increase our impact, and our plan of work is good, which we think it is, we really need to make sure that we're working within it in order to reach those new audiences that the plan of work identified. So yeah, so that's sort of the goal, to automate things, make them easy, make it as easy as possible to do our job, to come in with, that high quality feed on that perfect sunset day. If that's our goal, we need it to be automated. So the activities I have implemented so far is I've gone through, I've analyzed our current plan of work. I also analyzed our website. So our plan of work is this internal document that tells us who we should be. And then our website is our front facing, who are we, what do we do? Made sure that they fell in line. Our office manager is fantastic, and she really helped make sure that our forward face and what was behind the curtain really matched, and she revamped our website a lot, which I really appreciated. We then looked at, or I should say, I then looked at key metrics, both in our plan of work that we outlined. So we get down to really nitty gritty. 15 people will walk away with a better understanding of how on-farm readiness review applies to their farm. Like, we get really nitty gritty when you get into some of the outcomes. And then also the broader federal reporting outcomes, improving farm profitability, helping with transition planning. So we identified what the key metrics were. And then I went back and I created a lot of Qualtrics forms. And what's cool about Qualtrics forms is that they email out automatically. So you can set them so that when I finish a program action plan, it will email directly to my executive director for her approval. I don't have to worry about it getting stuck on my desk, getting lost in a mailbox, disappearing somewhere in the hallway. It is digital and it goes without me asking it to go. I'm also in the process of working on making our evaluations in Qualtrics as well. We got 10 Chromebooks last year, so for smaller programs, we could actually provide the digital form and people could do a program evaluation online on their own. And then for either larger programs, paper-based programs, we could have a paper survey, but then put it into Qualtrics, because Qualtrics has some really great tools for extracting data. And so when we go back to what our metrics are, we can get to really seeing if we made the impact we decided we wanted to make. And if there's a discrepancy between what our evaluations show and what we had aimed for, we can then have a discussion about, why does this discrepancy exist? Is it a positive discrepancy? Is it a negative discrepancy? And if it is something negative, how do we address it? As opposed to just continually shooting in the dark. So I kind of got a little ahead of myself. Sorry. So our plan evaluation strategy, my main goal, I will know that this project has been successful if come November when we sit down to do federal reporting, it isn't painful. If it is just easy and I can enter my information and we can walk away. It will still take time. It always takes time, but I really do think that there's important information that we can pull from federal reporting that tells us how we're doing our job. And as we continue to build what's in federal reporting year over year, we'll be able to see how we're changing and look at why we're changing in that direction. Also, we'll continue to use our plan of work and the both short-term, medium-term, and long-term metrics to see how we're reaching our goals. And then I do also want to draw on the recent ag census, and also Cardi has population applied demographics, or PAD, there you go. And I want to make sure that we're really meeting the needs of our population as it continues to change. So there will be, and of course we have our program surveys that we're working on revamping, and so that'll kind of let us know how we're doing as we work on this. And then the resources that we'll draw on, the Launchpad, when you go to like apps.cornell.edu, I think there are some really great tools there, whether it's registration or federal reporting or a ton of stuff. There's a lot of great stuff there. Qualtrics is fantastic. There's a lot you can do with it. There's a lot you can automate with it. And I do hope that if this works well for us, I talked to Kim Fleming about making a library so we can share with other associations, and they can use it too if it works. If it doesn't work, don't borrow it. Yeah. And then of course all of my colleagues in this cohort and in previous cohorts. The program on applied demographics is really, really good. It's helped me identify which populations we just aren't hitting at all, and work towards a plan to hit those populations as well. And then I love the little, like the CCE, We Connect Campus and Communities logo, because I think it's really true. As educators, we work with each other. As a big wide network of CCEs, we work with each other, and together we form a stronger New York State.